And I'm just so excited to chat with you. I've been following you, HEYMUN, for quite a while, for like a year or 2 years, something like that, maybe quite possibly longer. And I've just been sort of enamored. That's the word I'm going to use, with your talents. And I didn't know much about your personality, right, from your Instagram. It was more about your musical side. But now getting a chance to see you on your Twitch streams is just like, I've said it to you before. I'm gonna say it now. Now that it's like on record, it's just such a great thing that you're doing there, because you are so warm and genuine, and I just love when I see that you're live. I'm like, I'm going there right now. And as a live streamer for myself, I try to ask myself, what is it when I go on Twitch right now and I start looking like who's there, like what is it that's going to make me choose one person over another? Like that's kind of what it is, because there's so many people, so much talent out there. And so for me, I ask myself, like, whatever that thing is, whatever I come up to determine that thing is, that's what I want to try to emulate, right? And try to make sure that I have as part of my stream. I want people to feel like they're like, oh, he's there, I want to go check him out because I had a great time last time. And that's exactly how I feel about you.
Thank you so much. I'm really new to streaming, and I think we
Yeah.
really connected through Twitch, you and
Yeah.
I. Because
Yeah.
the first time, like, I've been following you on Instagram as well, and your energy is just unmistakably, like, beautiful. I just feel the positivity, the
Mm.
passion, the heart in it. And when I found out that you were streaming, and I went to your stream, I was so blown away by like
Wow.
the person behind the music, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
music we love, but then we start loving the person who's making the music. And I always try to tell like friends on Instagram, like I always want to bring a more human element to the username of making music today. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired, I tell people like I'm really tired. If I'm sad, I say I'm really sad. If I'm going through a hard time, I say I'm going through a hard time, because it's so easy to just look at an Instagram account and just think, oh, all they're doing is just putting out music,
Mm. Yeah.
making videos. And then the person behind the music starts getting, like more tired, but no one knows, right? So Twitch
Mm-hmm.
is a way for me to kind of be totally myself, go with the flow of chat. And
Mm-hmm.
if things go wrong on Twitch, things go wrong on Twitch, like
Mm-hmm.
there's something very real and important about the human side of the musician, I think. And I think it makes a person really warm and relatable. I tend to go towards Twitch streams, like what you said as well. Like when I see you live, I just know it's going to be a good time, and I just want to talk to you, in real time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. I definitely appreciate you sharing that. And I think we're in a world now sometimes where when people don't share these types of things, it's really impossible for us to really know that what we're doing is resonating with people. And so that's why when people do share it, I know what that does for me. It's we're all human, so that's like something that motivates me more, inspires me more, and so I try to understanding what that means when people share things like that with me. I try to make sure that I reciprocate it in a really truly in a genuine fashion, right? Like not necessarily giving the accolades or praise to everyone, because everyone may not deserve it. Maybe not like that, but like it's like certain people are going to resonate with me more, just like with you. So the ones that do, like, I want those individuals to know, like, oh, I see what you're doing, I love it, I'm inspired by it, like all that good stuff. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I want to start off talking, since we're talking about Twitch. I want to know a little bit about, like, sort of you have an Instagram account, you have a YouTube channel, and you chose recently, because you recently started streaming, you chose to stream on Twitch instead of, say, streaming on YouTube, for example. I'm interested in knowing your thought process on that, since you had a foundation, a community on YouTube already, because I have my reason. I'm kind of in the same exact boat as you. And then I'll chat about that from my end. But I'd love to know, like, sort of what your thought process was there.
Great question. So basically, I was doing my weekly YouTube videos for 4 years in a row.
Mm.
And one of the Twitch super moderators we call Woo Woo, you know,
Yes.
um, was actually a viewer of my YouTube channel for years. And
Wow.
every time I uploaded a video, Vuvu would be like, "When are you coming on Twitch? I think you'd be perfect for Twitch, your
Wow.
personality type." And because I'd actually use my description box section to ask people what did they eat today, how's their
Oh,
week been, and
yeah.
then I started making videos of how to take care of yourself on my YouTube channel. I didn't want it to just be a place of they're there to just watch me. I wanted to make sure that they knew that, in the midst of their hustle, that whatever tips that I've learned throughout the years to kind of make sure I took care of myself while I'm working hard, that I could
Hmm.
share that. And that video was the video that the super moderator on Twitch was like, okay, I need to talk to you. You need to give this a try. And I was like, well, I haven't spoken to this person before, and I was like, let's do it. So I just
Hmm.
messaged Vuvu, and I was like, so tell me more about Twitch. Why do you think I'd be great on Twitch? And Vuvu
Mm.
was just like, why don't you just come, just stream, let's see how it goes. So it went from like one stream to the next stream, and then I'm 3 months in, and
Wow.
I realized in hindsight now why I picked Twitch over YouTube, because I've already built my following, like not a huge following, but like a substantial following on YouTube in the 4 years.
Hmm.
And some of my YouTuber friends were like, "Oh, why don't you just live stream there? Like we would love to watch your live stream." But I feel like Twitch has a very different uh relationship with streamers. Like there's like raids, right? And I don't know if
Yeah.
YouTube stream has raids, but I love the raiding aspect of Twitch so much.
Yeah.
I love that you can support other streamers after your stream. That was so important to me too.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time you raid me, I just burst into tears. Like I just
So
just
good. It was so good. I told you I screen recorded that, right? I have the footage somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere.
I cry like a baby. And I was like, and I usually, try to be like, really composed, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, people are here for some good vibes. And when you did that, I just bawled like a baby, and I was just like, and I kept saying, I remember the words I said was like, why did you do that? That is the kindest thing. And that was what clicked in my mind. Like, why are Twitch streamers so community centric, so loving?
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
understand, like, the hard work that it takes to stream for hours, and they
Hmm.
understand how helpful raids are to each other, because you get to meet, other
Yes.
people who are watching the streams who just go, okay, you're also my favorite streamer. I look forward to supporting you and being around you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's what kept me streaming on Twitch. Like each stream per stream, I was more like getting closer to the fact, like, yeah, I want to stream on Twitch. And at the
Hmm.
moment, this is the platform I want to stream on.
Yeah, that is so incredible, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the community there is definitely different than the community on YouTube. I think that the discoverability is so different in that you would think that YouTube you can find people that are currently streaming doing things similar to what you and I are doing by searching for live music or live musicians, but you can't get that easily right now. Like you don't see that page of just people just live doing music like we do on Twitch. I think that's extremely major. Man, the raids are so cool, aren't they? They are so cool both ways, right? Like getting rated is amazing in its own right because you have that moment where you just perk up and you just start really exuding some excitement, some genuine excitement. But man, if rating someone else and you get a chance to discover someone or not even, so whether it's discovering someone or if you know someone like in the case that you just mentioned, both of them are just they're just such a nice thing. And I'm someone who I was going back and forth for a while, Heyman, on like, and I still kind of am a little bit like in terms of where do I want to plant my stake for the live streaming perspective. I felt for quite a while that like it would be amazing to have my YouTube channel and like do everything on that one platform. And so that's why I was actually doing that for a little while. And And I've done a lot of research, and I've read and I've heard from people, like, I'm very much interested in the news of big name Twitch streamers that go to YouTube and things like that, YouTube paying people, and like I'm curious to know how everything plays out. But one thing that I currently do know for sure is like the premier place for music streaming is Twitch, and there's no close second right now at all. In my opinion, I'm sure you probably would look at the landscape and probably think the same. It's like, what a time to be alive. Like, you're across the world and you could broadcast whatever you want. Like, your stream is your thing, right? It's like do you have a classical background? I know you play the piano. Not
No,
classical.
I just play by ear, and I
Yeah,
learned it from like Googling chords or YouTube,
got
you
you.
know?
Yeah, self-taught.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you have your background with music and like your experimental stuff, like whatever you and just the like you mentioned earlier, like the mental self-awareness and sort of like that aspect is something that's important to you. And someone going into your stream, I believe, will get that, they'll recognize that immediately, even if you're not talking about something explicitly. Just the ambiance that you have set up there and established is like, it exudes that. And that's why I've said, like, to a few people, and I may have mentioned to you as well, that like your stream is like the perfect place to raid. It's the perfect place to go to after you're done streaming yourself, because maybe the high energy stuff that might be going on in other streams, maybe you want to cool down, you want a little bit of like relaxation and that type of thing. So I think you're onto something really great with that, and I can't wait to see what you continue doing with that platform, and I can see you clearly enjoy it. So I think that's so cool.
It can be quite addictive, right? Like streaming on Twitch. I didn't expect it to be
Oh yes.
so addictive. I was
Yeah.
thinking like, what is this? 'Cause, yeah, even when you're raiding somebody, you can ask chat like, who should I raid today? And chat will
Yeah.
be like, you should try raid this person, and then you start meeting another person, and the other person's like, oh, I love your stream, and you're like, I love your stream, and then you start being
Yeah.
friends. And Twitch really facilitates togetherness. I realize it's so easy to make friends,
Yeah.
right? On
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so addictive. Like, I think there are days where if I'm doing other stuff, right, and then I'm not streaming, I'll be like, oh, I wonder if my
Uh-huh.
friends are streaming today.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
like I just want to know how my friends on stream are doing, and it's so nice to see them in their own cozy like studio or home. I love your
Mm.
setup, by the way.
Thank you
I
so much.
It's so beautiful. I just love it. And
Thank
Twitch
you.
makes me excited to keep in touch with streamers as well. I love
Yeah.
knowing like what they're doing, what they're up to, and what they
Mm-hmm.
ate, and obviously your skill is amazing. When you play keys,
Wow.
oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. I think with the setup, what's very interesting about that is like, I've made so many changes, and they're still ongoing. It's like I just continuously, I'm like tweaking it as like needs to be just right, whether it's the aesthetic or right now what I'm currently working on is and I'm very close to it. Hey man, I'm working on getting the setup such that my digital piano, my main digital piano that I brought back downstairs, my iPad, my OPZ, my OP1, this microphone, where all of those things can be going through at the right levels in the stream, and there's no like needing for me to previously like connect something or whatever like during the stream. Obviously there's equipment that you need, mixers and all that stuff. So I have two things here. I have an audio interface, and I have a portable Roland GoPro mixer. And the way that I have it kind of configured, it looks a little crazy with all the cables and everything running, but still experimenting. Once I get that set, I just think it's going to be so. I already saw a taste of it yesterday when I think yesterday or two days ago, when I was live streaming. The ability to do, like, well, let me say this. I've realized about me with music is that there are different things that I love doing, and they're quite on different ends of the spectrum. I absolutely love playing some chords and singing. Love it. Like pop songs or R&B songs or whatever, like songs that I love. Like, I love doing that. I also love playing classical music on the piano. I also love making beats on my iPad and sampling and doing hip hop, like doing things that are a little bit on the other end of the spectrum, where I think usually, you don't see one person that's that interested, like to the level that I am, doing both of these things. And what was happening is I would be doing a live stream over here on the piano, and then my other music gear would be over here, and it would be like separate things. It's like, okay, today I'm playing the piano. I'm gonna do this stuff today, and I might want to do other things, but I don't have it set up in such a way. But yesterday, when I was experimenting on Twitch, and I was just like, all right, guys, I click the button, boom, we're from piano. I just rotate over. I have the top down view, and I'm like, I'm so close to getting it exactly right. And once it does get to that point where all the levels are right, it's gonna be a wrap, as they say. It's gonna be a wrap. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you. I think for those who maybe haven't streamed before, the addictive part is also how do you want your stream to feel? And as you stream, the more you know where you want to fine tune it. It's a kind of a doing thing before you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
You gotta
totally.
keep experiencing stream after stream. Like in my first stream, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, right?
Hmm.
And my friend who's the super moderator is like, just be yourself. It's a very important thing on Twitch. Like like your authentic, genuine side is what the Twitch community can relate to, right? And
Yeah.
I have a very awkward side, as you may have seen in my like crying on a raid, and then when my camera like it has no more battery, I'll have to bring out Brenda, like the
Oh yeah.
stand-in face double. Can I show
Yeah.
your audience like what it looks
Yeah.
like?
Please.
I'll just bring it.
Please. Yeah. Yeah. I think they need to know. Yes.
So literally, my face double, my twin, is Sweet
Yes.
Brenda, and
Now, was that a tear?
yeah, it's a tear. It's my favorite like emoji on
Okay.
with like the happy sad tear,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, I remember like the first time I'm streaming when I got raided, the battery went out. And I was recharging the battery, and then suddenly the raid came in. I was just holding Brenda, and the chat just went, "What?" Like they just lost it. I was just like, "Why do I always get raided
Yeah.
when doing awkward stuff?"
Yeah.
The doorbell just rang. What?
Yeah. You need to
Like,
grab it.
and may I? It might be
Yeah. Of
something.
course.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so
Go
sorry.
for it. No, it's okay.
Coming, coming.
This is so much fun. I love this. I love having a show to be able to do what we're doing right now. This is so much fun. So good.
Like I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for interruption, but you see what I mean? Like when I'm
Yeah.
streaming, these things happen, and people are like,
Literally.
that awkward person. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just me.
It is. It is
I
okay. I had a chance
apologize.
when you walked away. I had a chance to just say to the camera, which is now on record, like how much I love this moment. This is so. This is like these connections are a major part of why I wanted to have a show to interview people. That I have to come up with a better word, because it's not interview, but a show to like bring guests on and just have a conversation with them. And it's funny because as my content creation journey continues onward, and I look at strategies for growth, but growth the right way, staying genuine, all that stuff. I I know the type of video, as I'm sure you probably do too. Having a YouTube channel, I think we're very close in terms of our footprint on YouTube. I was like looking at our like subscribers, and so I think we're both like in the 3,000s, if I'm not mistaken. I think, and we know the type of things that succeed on YouTube, that get views and stuff on YouTube. Like I know the type, the tutorial and like those types of videos. I also know how important it is for me. Like these long form conversations are something that I absolutely adore doing, and I I think one of the major things that needs to happen, and I just need to like sit down and do it, is like there's most people won't sit down for an hour and listen to a conversation just because of attention spans and stuff, right? So I know that during these talks, like there's so many moments that always happen, whether it's what you just did, like went to the doorbell, like that's funny and comical, or if it's something more insightful that's said during the conversation that can be like a clip or something like that. I I know that my conversations have a ton of those moments in them, but there's something about me that like going back to previous content and like sifting through it and creating new content from it, it just doesn't appeal to me. So I need to like figure a way to get those types of moments on like in the right eyes, like those 15-second clips and stuff like that. This platform that we're currently using right now called Riverside, they have a thing here. As a matter of fact, I might just clip it right now, just click it. They have a thing that lets you like in real time like get a moment that you think is good or that either just happened or about to happen, and it'll like turn it to the proper format and all that. I have never used it before. I just clicked it. We'll see how it goes, when I post it or something later. But I just appreciate you taking the time, and I'm just so excited to just, finally meet you in this fashion and, grow our bond, grow our connection, like in a way that it's already been grown, but like, it's really cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was telling you, I think on your stream that like whenever you go to someone's stream, it's like that person speaking and then you're just typing back, right? And then when you
Right.
come to my stream, I'm speaking to you, but you're just typing back. And it's still such a nice bond on Twitch. Like you feel the presence of your friend watching you on a stream,
Yeah.
cheering
Oh,
you
yeah.
on. And I just wanted to like highlight how beautiful your emotes are that you created. I
Oh, wow.
love your emotes, like especially the fire piano. You're
Wow.
so great at your emotes. It's fantastic.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I did work pretty hard on them. Like I was trying to figure out for a while. It took me, I think that's another thing about me. If there's something that I want to do and I feel like it's important to do, it oftentimes takes a very, very long time to actually get done because I kind of overthink things and I just put it off because I don't feel like I'm ready to do it yet or something like that. And so for this, on this one here, I knew the importance of having emotes once, for subs, and I knew that that was something important for many reasons. I mean, if like to your point, if people are using your emotes in other people's streams when you're not even there, like you can click that and you can like who is this, that type of thing. And so I knew about the importance of it. That's a whole nother community based thing, like you were mentioning before. And I just yeah, I was at the coffee shop one day and I was just like, all right, I want to figure out how to make a PNG, like, because I have ideas, but I want to know how to do this. And it ended up being one of the most easy. Have you heard? I'm sure you've heard of Canva before because they're based in Australia,
Oh yeah,
right?
Canva,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a big I mean, maybe one of the biggest, like in that, right, in
Huge.
that
I
space.
mean, have you heard of the podcast How I Built This?
Yes, that's why I found out about them being from Australia. I love that podcast.
I am so proud of like Canva because I love that podcast so much. And I love podcasts.
Wow.
I'm just so crazy about podcasts. And that
Yes.
episode came on and I'm like, Sydney, Australia? Because sometimes it can feel like the main hubs of where people want to create tech, like apps and everything, San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, and Sydney having Canva, and now I still get questions like, oh, do you know Canva? Do you use Canva? I was like, oh, I certainly know Canva.
Yeah.
They're really
Yeah.
like popular for bringing a lot of love to Sydney with Canva, and the story is really
Wow.
great, right? Of
Oh, it
how
was so
Canva came
good.
up. Yeah.
It was so good. I think there was a moment, I'm pretty sure that the founder had either an opportunity or there was like a preference like for her to bring it to somewhere else, but she was steadfast with staying in Sydney, right? To bring in jobs
Yeah.
over there and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've got some friends who are like graphic designers who are just like, oh, would love to work with Canva. Like a lot of them
Mm,
are like, oh, you're just in that vicinity of that neighborhood. Would definitely
yeah.
love to. I'm like, yeah, me too. I mean, I made
Yeah.
my own emote. Can I apply for a job? No,
Right.
probably not. Oh, but
Right.
did you do the emote through Canva?
I was gonna say, yeah, the way it was so easy. I signed up for like the premium membership for like 1 month because that's how you can export PNGs. And then it was as simple as taking a picture. Like two of those are like pictures of me making a face, and then the other ones were simply pictures that I researched on like another website. I think it's called Pexels, and there's a few other like free sites where you can get like high quality images. And essentially, you can just turn any image to to an emote. That's effectively what I did. And then a couple ones with the words on it. I did I think I did in Canva as well, like change like the vibes or whatever other words I have there. Raid. Yeah, so it was when I figured out how to do it, that was like the addictive thing, like you were mentioning. I was like, okay, I need this to be like I want to come out the gate swinging. I want this to like look the right way that I want it to, and I really appreciate the feedback. I love seeing people use my emotes. Like that's always exciting. I'm like, oh, cool, like nice, you know.
I use them.
Definitely a good thing.
I was just using them yesterday or day before
Wow.
yesterday. Like I love like these days, right? I wake up really early, so I need to kind of wake my brain up. So I'll just like turn
Yeah.
on Twitch, and if I see any of my friends there playing the piano, you bet I'm gonna be
Yeah.
using yours. It's just like fire.
Wow.
So amazing. I feel like, oh, that's a cool emote. I'm like, oh, you should go and check out Khordmaster. Like,
Yeah. Go.
and that's how you kind of build community,
Yeah.
and that's why, like, I remember when I had a chat with you, I said like it's so important that like you're really putting your feelings and your passions out there, because I think when I first started on Instagram, making my own videos, it's like it's hard to know if that person is relatable, kind, passionate, if they don't actually show that side, if they only show like their skills, right? Which is great
Yeah.
too. But I realized like I needed a human connection to people's music that I cared about. I
Yeah.
realized that if I listen to this beautiful song and video on Instagram, my mind would be like, oh, I wonder what their train of thought is. I wonder how long they've been playing their instrument and what
Yeah.
made them love choose this synthesizer and this gear. I realized that I have a lot of curiosity with connecting with people that are like-minded, um, passionate, positive. So when you came onto Instagram, I did you notice that like people were just kind of going towards your warmth, like very easily? They were just like, "Hi, how are you? How are things?"
Hmm.
Is that something you've gotten your whole life because you're so warm and
I appreciate you sharing that. I would say that it hasn't always been easy to say this about myself because like I don't like usually like saying like accolades and like that much stuff, but I have learned that it's important to do that, to do so sometimes. So I would say for sure that's exactly what it is. Like the fact that I'm able to connect with so many different types of people so genuinely is something that comes natural to me. So I don't usually think of it as or I should say I didn't in the past usually think of it as a noteworthy thing because it was normal. It was Kevin. It was who I am. But as time has gone on, I think it was a culmination of so many of these conversations with different people. I used to work at Verizon in engineering before becoming a teacher, before doing entrepreneurship, and kind of what I'm doing now, being a live streamer like you are. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, all these conversations that I've had with people and all these connections that I've had with people prior to starting my YouTube channel, I was like, I I love connecting with people, and I'm realizing that it's easy for me to connect with people. And so when I do start a channel, I want to eventually have the channel, a prominent part of the channel, be exactly what we're doing now. Like be able to talk to someone, connect with them, have a conversation with them, and the feedback that I've gotten from people like afterwards has been just so great. It's been so great, just in the sense of like them enjoying themselves in on the talk. Sometimes I know people were like maybe a little bit nervous before. I've had people like guests like that. I've had obviously guests who were very comfortable because they are streamers themselves and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like if the person just says like it just felt so like I forgot we were even like streaming. I felt like we were just in the same room. That type of thing. That's something that just makes me feel like okay, then something I did in that talk was resonated with that person in that way. There was a time when I used to work at Verizon. There was a guy there, one of my mentors, who I actually had on my show as well, one of my early guests, and I just remember. And he was a executive at the company. So he was one level under the CEO. So he was very very high up in this big company. And I remember I used to go to his office sometimes and like chat with him and like for mentorship, and he'd share stories and stuff. And I was sitting across from him one time, and this was at like 2 in the afternoon in Verizon headquarters. So we're in the workplace, but he's telling me a story about something that he told so vividly, and it was so detailed that I legitimately did not even realize I was still at work. Like I felt like I was there at the dinner table at the restaurant that him and his son were at when they were talking about. Like he just said it in such a way. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is such an interesting ability and trait. Like using your words to connect with people is just so powerful. It's so beautiful. Can be so beautiful. Words can be a lot of different things, of course. But yeah, that's something that's just been so important to me. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I would say the Instagram, it's kind of a similar thing in terms of like the people that I connect with. But I would say that I've met, like yourself, I've met a handful of people that I really really resonate with, but not a whole lot. Not like a whole lot of people. Like a handful. I mean, I have people that I talk to every so often, but there's like a select few that I'm like I vibe with on this kind of level. And I think that's an awesome thing that we can be so far from each other in the world, but still connect. Like that's what's one of the cool things about technology, you know?
I hear you. It's almost like we all know that we are like on this platform and it is like on the internet, and how much can you know a person, but there are some people that you're like, I think we're gonna be friends, and if we had like a lunch or a dinner, it's gonna be so comfortable and so much fun. Sometimes you get that extra
Yes.
vibe that like, wow, if I met this person in real life through like a community or through our neighborhood
Yeah.
or through school, like we'd be so glad to be like, hey, it's nice to meet
Yes.
ya. Now let's have fun.
Yes. Yeah. I really do, and I've heard that from a couple other people that have said that same thing about like not explicitly about me or any one person in particular, but just in general, like they have a person or they have people in mind that they've met, that they've been communicating with, quite possibly more than people that they've grown up with or closer friends or whatever, just because they're in the same space, they're both content creators and that kind of thing. And I do think it's such an exciting proposition to think about that moment. I would say when rather than if, like when some of these individuals are in the same room. Like there's so many different things that happen. One, it's just like a heartwarming, like wholesome kind of interaction. But then two, when you talk about like creativity, if you talk about like imagine us two, for example, we both love teenage engineering. You have your OB4 right there. You see mine right back there. I got the OB4 in the background there. But like imagine like doing something creative in the same space too. Like all of the past vibes, for lack of a better word, that we've sort of created in our interactions. That I think that would be just something special can happen creatively, right? If we're like working on something music wise, like that's something that's also exciting to think about for some point in the future where like supersonic jets are available and it's easier to get from Australia to New York, New Jersey.
I know it's every time I make my way to New York, like, wow, it knocks me out the flight. Seriously, I think the
Oh
last
man.
time I was there was right before the pandemic started. My
Wow.
mister, my partner, hasn't been to Los Angeles and New York before, and I was telling my partner like, we should really go. I think you're gonna love it so much. And
Yeah.
right after that trip, my partner's just like, oh, let's go back every year. And boom, the pandemic happened. And I
Yeah.
was like, but every time we take that flight, because if for those who don't know, Sydney, Australia, we gotta first go to Los Angeles. Like that's the first stop. So it's already like, whoo, like I think sometimes you could be on a plane for over like 22 hours, and it's back to
Wow.
back. Like you hit to Los Angeles. Most people will want to do a layover for a couple of days before doing another 5 hours from Los
Yeah.
Angeles to New York. And
Yeah.
so after I did the first time, the first flight I did, I underestimated jet lag so much and how fast
Mm.
paced New York City is once you land. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's
I and I
intense.
and you start to learn about Dwayne Reed, and you can
Oh
actually
yeah.
like, because I fell under the weather immediately from the jet lag, like because I was underslept, and then I couldn't sleep at night, and they're like, yeah, Dwayne Reed. And started getting these, like, in America it's so amazing where your Dwayne Reed, right, has literally everything. And there's this thing, a tablet that I found out that if you, let's say, have like a stuffy nose or you're feeling a bit of a cold, you can actually drop this tablet into your shower and it would stay
Really?
the whole shower out.
What? I did not know about that. Yeah, yeah, okay.
I accidentally put too much. And I
Yeah.
felt like I was like, that whole shower, I was just like, I can't see. I can't move. Did I put too much? And that's the worst
Right.
time to call for your friends, right? Help! No, no
Yeah.
help! It's like,
Yeah.
don't help
Right.
him! No!
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love
Wow.
visiting the States, and it's just a good feeling, to travel over to New York and like experience the food. You're in New Jersey, right? You mentioned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How is it
In
like?
Jersey.
What's it like in New Jersey?
Yeah, Jersey is very, very, very different than New York. It's interesting because we're so close. Like it's a 45-minute drive or so to get to New York. And so like when I used to like go to trainings or something like that at Verizon and people from maybe around the world would be there and I would tell them that I'm from New Jersey. And they're like, "Oh man, so you probably go to New York every weekend or once a month or something." I'm like, "No, maybe like, a couple times a year." Like it's not it's I actually was born in New York actually. So I've been there. I've stayed there for longer periods of time growing up. But Jersey is more like, especially where we live, it's very, I guess the word is what, suburban area? Yeah, it's very chill, not fast paced. There are faster paced areas in New Jersey, of course, like more downtown, similar to New York. But where we're at, it's like, it's not a place where you leave your house and you can walk to stores. Or, I mean, technically you can walk to a couple stores not too far from here, but generally you have to like drive to get to places in where we live in Jersey. Um, I like it here, but more recently, I've been thinking. Well, first of all, it's like 10 degrees. I don't know what's the weather out there like in the winters and stuff. Does it get really cold, or how's the weather like out there?
It's very similar to Los Angeles, Sydney
Okay.
weather. It's just the winters are so mild. People are still
Oh,
wearing like shorts, and we call it like flip flops over here. Like those
gotcha.
sandals, like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Havaianas. Yeah, like like it's quite mild. So what about your side?
Yeah, yeah. So it's not mild. It's like bitter. It gets bitter cold. Like today was like 10 degrees. We have so much baby like cardboard boxes and stuff from the nursery of putting like desks or dressers and all that stuff together. So we had like a whole bunch of stuff in our back room. So today, every other Thursday is when they take the recyclables out. So it's like, okay, let me get up nice and early. Let me go ahead and get this together. It took like a couple hours, like crush all the boxes and everything. But just like bringing them outside from like my door to right behind my wife's car where they come pick them up, I was like, this is very uncomfortable right now. I don't like being outside right now at all, you know. And there was a time, there was a time where I would sort of go to bat and be like, I like the fact that the winters are so cold here because it's like that first time that you look at the weather and like you have a string of like nicer days like as you're transitioning into spring was it's like something in the air, like everyone's like in a good mood, it's like we got through another winter. It's like here we go, we got spring, summer, and then fall, right back to back to back. And now, like just now when you were talking about your winters, you said flip-flops, you said people wear shorts, it's like Los Angeles weather. I'm thinking to myself, like I really 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 value now more than probably ever that I remember in my life. I value like going to parks and going outside, getting sunlight. Like I value all that stuff. And so now knowing that I live in a place where like for 3 months to 4 months out of the year, like I can't do that comfortably. I'm like, huh, okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna stay in New Jersey forever. I don't think I am. I can see. My wife and I have talked about that.
Hmm.
But the thing is like right now we're blessed. Like both of my parents, both of her parents live 10 minutes from us, and we both have like pretty much our support systems are right here. So it's not something with bringing a baby into this world, baby girl, is not something that is even fathomable to think about what it would look like to be anywhere else for the foreseeable future. But
Mm.
eventually, I could see, maybe Sydney. I'll go work at Canva. Boom. There
Hopefully.
we go. Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, I actually feel like like when I go to New York, right? Like we go to like the East Coast, and you're fully experiencing the four seasons in its fullest glory.
Oh yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
snowing. I remember like seeing a little bit of snow in New York, and I was like taking pictures. I was like, snow. I saw snow, and my friends in New York was like, "Oh, I wish I could be like you, see a little bit of snow as a tourist. Do you
Yeah,
know how much pain we go through shoveling that?"
yeah.
Like, and I was
Right,
like, "Oh,
right.
I'm looking at the like romanticized tourist version of like when I go to New York, it's like, just relaxing. But then my friends are like, oh, it gets really, really cold. And I've not experienced like really, really cold in Sydney. For me, even like Sydney winters, I consider it as a Malaysian. I moved from Malaysia to Sydney. I
Yeah.
consider the winters here pretty cold. I'm wrapped up in like three shirts and two pants, right?
Yeah,
While my partner and my friends are just like, oh, I'm just gonna wear a long pants for today and
yeah.
just one
I'm good.
t-shirt. I'm like, what? How do people do that? You know what I mean? But yeah, Sydney,
Yeah.
you're gonna love the beaches, how laid back people
Mhm.
are here. I'm kind of like crazy about fall in New York. There's nothing more beautiful than the
Oh
colors
man,
of those leaves. I've never in my life seen Central Park like that in my life. I'm like, oh, October and you
it's
got pumpkin
so
everything. Pumpkin
it's
everything. Shake Shack has
yeah,
pumpkin, custard.
yeah. It's so good. Fall. You're spot on. I absolutely love fall. There's what you just mentioned about the aesthetic of it. There's also for me what feels like I mentioned to someone when we were talking about like favorite seasons, and I mentioned like something about it feels like new beginnings for me, and they were like, what do you mean like new beginnings? Like fall is like when all the leaves are dying and stuff. But what I meant by that specifically was like it's like the start of like a school year, and me being an educator, right, being a former teacher, being a tutor, like there's something like I really love about like that academia, like that sort of angst about starting a new school year and then finally getting there, and it's like you have a fresh start. Obviously it's like seasons for like your favorite shows oftentimes start in the fall as well. So there's just something about it that I absolutely love, and so I can totally relate to you on that for sure.
Speaking about like your tutoring side, your teacher side, I love that you bring that aspect to the community. I'd
Hmm.
love to hear more about that. Like, I actually feel like there's so much space for mentorship and for
Mm.
helping each other in the community. Because even when you're talking about, okay, YouTube or Twitch, Instagram or TikTok, like
Hmm.
where do we put our, videos and work out, which is going to suit us? I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of us can sometimes be creating and putting things out blindly. Like we don't know what's going to work and it's trial and error. And sometimes I always think like, if we helped each other out, like with these chats that we're having, right? If somebody had any inkling of wanting to do Twitch, and then we just talked about Twitch, like
Mm.
emotes are fun, raids are fun, and they'll
Yeah.
go, yeah, okay, it's nice to see someone in my community who I can relate to, who's my friend, who's also learning how to stream. They're both starting out and they're talking
Yeah.
about what it's like starting out. And
Yeah.
and that's why I always think like if people can talk about like the hardships of trying to make music their thing, then we can change the landscape together. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the experiences and the genuineness that we sort of talk about these things, I think can and probably will resonate deeply with that person, right? That person who's maybe considering it or has heard of it and just are curious about what it looks like more. I think when it comes to streaming, I think one of the major things too is like the fact that it is inherently live, and therefore it's near impossible to like not be genuine, not be yourself in a live setting, as opposed to the person who's making YouTube videos where you can do multiple takes and you can edit and you can do X, Y, and Z to kind of make it look and feel and sound a certain type of way. I love how with and so all those things take time and effort in order to get those videos that type of way. I love how with like live streaming, the cool one of the things I love most about it, in addition to everything we shared before, is that after the live stream is over, like that's it. Like there's no like editing or anything like that afterwards. And for me, I don't enjoy editing for the most part. There are certain videos on YouTube that I make that I get into editing. I'm like, oh, like I put a lot more effort into it, and I like make it look a certain way, transitions and all that, and that's like the creative aspect. But when I'm editing a video just to get it out, and not really like having fun with it, it's like it's an arduous task because it's not a lot of creativity that I feel like I'm kind of utilizing in order to make it. So that to me is something that I have to kind of, I think, figure out a little bit more in terms of perhaps the types of videos that I'm editing and not really enjoying. Perhaps there's something about those videos that do they even need to be made, or only the ones that I feel really excited about. So it's like it's a learning process, and it's like it's the ebbs and flows, right, of being like a content creator and kind of learning about what works, best for you. I want to ask you a question about content creation and about like brand partnerships. This is like a major thing for me this year that I'm trying to focus on a little bit more. Organic partnerships with different brands, different companies that align, with me. Whether it's products that I already use, like with Teenage Engineering, they've been extraordinarily gracious, with me. Like I've owned the OPZ. That was one that I purchased pretty much right when it came out years ago. And then from making content, I was able to sort of partner with them and get my hands on the OB4 and the OP1, which were by far the biggest wins for me, like in terms of someone recognizing what I do and seeing value, not just saying, oh, here you go, it's yours, have fun, but like seeing value in what it is that I do and saying, oh, this doing, us gifting this to you is something that is going to benefit them as well, because they trust, and trust me to kind of do the right things with it. And so I want to talk to you like about like partnerships, branding and stuff like that for someone maybe watching that is growing their channel, growing their presence. Do you have any, I guess, recommendations on how you think that should work, whether it is something that you've waited for, like to grow your brand and then waited for companies to come out to you, or if there was something that you were like, oh, I see what this company's doing, I researched them, I think this product I would love, and I would love to demonstrate it, so I'm going to go ahead and reach out to them. Any like preference or kind of what worked better on your end?
So far for me, and this is such a good topic, right, for us to touch, like because when I was starting out, these are the things that, like, if I knew at the beginning, then I'll be like, oh, so that's how it works, right? And I realized, like, because the landscape's ever changing, like, from the time that I came onto Instagram, like, my goal, right, was to just be really focused on my personal kind of like journey in music. It wasn't anything to do with at all like the first year, the second year. It wasn't to do with how far I can take music. It was more about like, I'm quite an awkward person. I can be very shy. It takes time for me to actually get to know people and put myself out there. So I was just doing videos with just my hands, like just a top shot with just my hands, because I wasn't feeling comfortable enough to share myself. I was just thinking like, well, I'll just put my fingers out there first, and then maybe my toes, and then
Yeah.
and then Teenage Engineering actually found me when I was like at the very like beginning stages of my Instagram. I think, when sometimes people come up to me and be like, oh, do brands want to connect with you and work with you because of your following and stuff? I always tell them just like, no, if you find yourself, they'll find you. It's a very important thing to know what you want to say through your music, who you are through your music. And so far, like, I haven't personally reached out to any brands because I'm so new to this avenue of working with brands. So far, like, if a brand approaches me, I still weigh up like, is this the right thing or is this not the right thing? There are some brands who, like, if they reach out to me, I think my mentality is just like, let's just make sure that this is a longevity thing, and it's something that's going to suit me, because I also didn't feel like, for me personally, that I just wanted to end up with like a warehouse full of gear. Do you know what I mean? I wanted these things for people who are watching me and growing with me. Like, I'm still that person that when I first started Instagram, I'm looking for somebody to relate to. I'm looking for somebody that I just feel a connection with. And so when I'm kind of like working through my videos, I always ask myself like, what is my focus with this next YouTube video? It's
Mm-hmm.
not to attract brands. It's not to, work with a certain company. For me, it's just like, I just want to make what I have sing in its full capacity. If I have one module, I'll just focus on. But then again, my brain works in a very like hyper focused manner as well. Like if I have just one thing at the beginning 4 years ago, I only had the OP1. I remember
Mm-hmm.
buying it. And I was just so focused. Like I made an album on Spotify. I made videos almost every week. January came from True Cuckoo, and I was just like OP1, OP1. Like my brain would
Mm-hmm.
just be like, and I wasn't thinking of like, oh, would this company see me, or would this, I was just thinking like, what can this do, like what can this do? So in a sense, like I don't know if it's a good thing in a business aspect where like my brain can be very like super focused. Like if I get something, I'm just like, I'll just shut this studio door and people won't see me for a while. And then when the video's done, it's on YouTube. It was my way of kind of like tracking my growth. Like when I look at the videos from 4 years ago, how I filmed them, what I was saying lyrically, like I wanted to feel proud of the growth. You know what I mean? Not the end
Mm-hmm.
goal. And that somehow attracted different brands like Spitfire Audio, Arturia, Teenage
Mm-hmm.
Engineering. It really surprised me when like they reached out. Genki Instruments from Iceland was like, we just love what you do. And obviously I'm not someone who has like 1 million followers. Like my YouTube's still growing, my Instagram's still growing. So for them to see something in me, like my brain is just like, work hard, work hard, like, have a good attitude, be community centric, and just, keep one foot ahead of the other, like one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm also curious. It's like, do people approach brands? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the etiquette? So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so, I appreciate you sharing that. That's so, there's so much like great things to unpack in there. Like one of the things that you mentioned about having a warehouse full of gear. So like that is something that it sounds like you're very intentional about not wanting that. There's pros and cons to everything. Having too much gear would mean that you're not going to be great probably at any one thing because you're like stretched thin, right? You're trying like so many different things out. And so, when people get to know you, and perhaps I'm sure there's been probably many people who have made some of their purchase decisions based upon how much fun they see you having with your musical equipment. So I don't know, the moment that so at that moment that they make that purchase, they're on a journey with you, and then if a week later you're like, oh, okay, forget this, I'm going over here now, just doing this different thing, that could have, of course, an adverse effect on the relationship if people went that route for that specific reason with you to kind of follow you along. um, I think it's a very exciting and beautiful thing when companies do reach out, when they acknowledge what it is that you're doing. I think I mean, ideally, I would imagine the organic way of them reaching out to you is like it's like a testament on what it is that you're doing, even if you're, like you mentioned, what you're doing, it was not for that reason really at all. It was to find yourself in music and have fun with it. um, and what a beautiful thing to, like, just taking a quick moment to have the creative outlets that we do have to balance these other things in life that we all deal with, right? It's like, if we didn't have this, if I didn't have the ability to play the piano, that I would not be like happy. I wouldn't be the same Kevin. I would be like yearning for something probably. So it's just definitely like a blessing in itself to that we have these, the ability and the ability to kind of have this outlet for ourselves. And I'd be interested, the same way you just said, I'm interested from others in terms of what the etiquette is. I've experienced both ways. I've experienced times for sure that I've reached out, um, and I've experienced times where companies have reached out to me. And I think the to me the big thing, just in general, is like this sort of collaborative scenario where the types of deals and agreements and partnerships that I love making are ones where it's pretty clear and explicit that we are both gonna likely or very likely win as a result of it. Like whatever is gonna happen, it's like we're both getting some benefit out of what's happening. Which I'm sure that's probably just maybe a pseudo obvious thing to say because that's probably what most scenarios want. You want most to look like, but that's kind of what I think about. Like when if I send an email to someone, which is I would say periodically, right? That's not like that's it is high on my list to. I would lie if I would be lying if I said it wasn't. It is high on my list to form these types of agreements and partnerships for this year, but it's very specific the types of ones that I'm looking for. For example, I think about the person that you may follow on YouTube, and you're following them, and they're doing one type of thing for a while, like music gear or something like that, and then out of nowhere they are doing an unboxing video of a vacuum cleaner or of a dishwasher or something that's completely outlandish, and it's like that's cool, like you received it, it's all good, but to me there's some level of like I'm not I won't connect as much. Probably I'll feel like a little less genuine about that relationship there, and that's just me personally, like how I look at it. So as a result, I'm very intentional with the types of things that I try to make sure that I'm showing on my channel for that very reason, while staying true to myself. While if there's things that I want to do that I'm like, oh, are my followers going to enjoy this or not? But if I want to do it, I'll do it. Something fun like a vlog or something a little bit more carefree. I was going to say this too, which I think is fascinating. I'll share this with you, and I want your opinion on this. You're familiar with YouTube's memberships, right?
No, not at all. I
Oh, okay.
like, what are they?
Oh, they're quite amazing. I think they are ways for you to have people pay anywhere between 99 cents up to, it can probably go up to $50, something like that. But I think most memberships are probably like 99 cents to 2.99, 4.99 per month, and in exchange for that they get a few things. One, they get like a custom badge next to their name so that they could proudly display it, similar to the way people on Twitch would, and that badge will change over time for the longer they've been a member, the different the badge would be, and you can create your own just like you would the emotes. They also get the ability to use your custom emotes in your chat, similar to Twitch as well.
Wow.
Or I believe on your YouTube videos, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But I think some of the more important things, the other perks that are really strong that I'm looking at as like a wow, this could be huge, is you can do things like make member only community posts on YouTube. So you can make posts that only community members can see if you want to like poll those specific people on the direction of your next video or something like that. And maybe the most important thing is you can make, well, two things actually. One of them is you can make videos available to members only. And why that's important to me a little bit is, say for example, if there's a type of video that I want to make that I believe only people who are like the truest of Khordmaster fans will really watch and will really find value in. Now, and I'm thinking like, okay, do I want to put this out? Do I want to put the time into making this or whatever the case is? Now I can make it, I can sort of cement it so that it's in the cloud now, so I can delete it from my phone and hard drive, and I can share that with the type of person who would really, really enjoy, watching that type of content. And for me, just getting like, I just launched the membership on my channel just recently, and I just got like two people, my first two members, and I was just like, I was excited. I was waiting for to see, who was like first person. And surprisingly, a person who bought I ended up selling my Roland Phantom keyboard, 61 key, because I'm going to be getting the 88 key version from Roland for a discount, which I'm very excited about, but it's going to take a while to come in, like several months, but I'm cool with that because I'll spend more time with Teenage Engineering gear and that type of thing. But the person who bought it from me from Reverb is the person who, and I found out after the fact, but he joined my membership on YouTube. I just recognized the name and I saw it there, Chip something. I was like, wow, this is the same person. This is crazy. I was so excited. So I thanked him for that. And then one more person like the day after. So I think that's like and you get, 70%, 70-30 versus on Twitch where it's 50-50. So you get a higher percentage on YouTube as well. So I'm excited about exploring, what that looks like. You can even, and this might be something that you look at too, like you can stream if you wanted periodically on YouTube. And if you were to do a membership thing, if that's something that you thought might be a good idea for you, because first of all, people want to support you. That's one of the major things that I have to kind of realize. Like people, they want to like that have been following you. They want to know ways to do that, ways to support you. And I think you might not be the person to like ask for support. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like you might not go out and ask for it, but people do want to do that. So like if you were, I don't know, like to stream periodically on YouTube as well, like all those people that are on YouTube, which is probably quite a lot of them that follow you that don't have Twitch or don't care for Twitch or whatever the case is, they're like, oh no, I don't do Twitch. Okay, fine. But there's probably a lot of them that still would be interested in checking you out. That might be something to look at because you can also do like members only chats as well. I know I'm talking a lot about memberships, but you can do like members only chats as well on your live streams on YouTube, and that could, entice people to become members and things like that. So there's like all these different strategies that I'm thinking about. I'm like strategizing in the past couple of weeks, and I've been having a good time with it. Like certain light bulbs turning on and stuff like that.
Thank you for sharing that. Like, once again, that is so helpful and useful to people in the community who are starting out trying to make a living, because we put so much effort into our videos, right? And it's
Yeah.
years and years of like time, and time is our most important asset in our life. Like, where do we put that energy? Even when you were talking about like,
Yeah.
oh, should I even be making the videos that I'm not feeling 100% spark joy on? Like you can feel, because your body is telling you like, I really could be streaming right now, or I could be doing another video right now, like, because
Mm-hmm.
time is such a like unreplenishable asset in our lives, that every time we're doing something that doesn't even feel right, the body is very in tune to it. And that's
Mm.
something that I realized, like, it's been clicking in me as well. Like,
Wow.
so I get so many DMs like, oh, could you do a tutorial? And I will always ask them, I was like, what's the difference between what's already out there and what I can offer you? Like, I have to be very direct back, right? Because if not,
Yeah.
you can't say stuff like, oh yeah, sure, and then you kind of don't, right? I'm just like, but because every time somebody's asking you of something, there's a wealth of knowledge there. It's like, what is it trying to tell you? And when they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I just want, like, oh, I just, for example, like your nature, or like the way you explain things, or I like being around your uh ambient vibes, and that's when I realized, like, okay, despite there being like already a lot of tutorials, and me feeling like I just don't want to not to put so much time into something that doesn't actually add value to the community. You wanna kind of like make sure that what I'm bringing to the table is also kind of like, you imagine like a dinner party, right? Someone's already like cooked this dish, and then you'll be like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
the dish is there. We can all enjoy this dish, right? And
Yeah.
that's why even when people ask me like, how did you start Eurorack, I always refer it to like Noah Blanc V, like one of my good friends. I'm just like, so much effort's been put into that video to explain like what case to get, like, let's enjoy that. you know
Yeah.
so I think,
Yeah.
and if the more like us, like creators, musicians, like see the value in each other and question like, where's my time actually going, like what can I do that is actually unique to me, that I also enjoy, that my audience can also enjoy, like when we think of it as a community, then the things that we make are very intentional, also very helpful towards not just the community but also to the creators, because like all of our livelihoods matter in this landscape, not just
Mm-hmm.
between me and the people who are watching me, but what about my friends? Like, I want to see them thrive, I want to see them eat, I want to see them grow, I want to see them be
Yeah.
successful. It can't just be me at the end in this world, like in this landscape that's so bleak to think about, when I have spent my whole life trying to look for people like you and all of my friends on Instagram, people who I can genuinely connect with, that I would love to have a meal with one day. And
Yeah.
we're all people struggling on this ever-changing landscape, on like, how do we maneuver through this? The music's changing all the time, like it's harder
Yeah.
to make money every single day. So that's why, like, I'm trying to be more intentional with the things I create. And also, when you share about the YouTube memberships, it's so helpful, because someone like
Mm.
me don't know that, someone else does not know that. and we end up not using that. And I'm
Sure.
still stuck
Yeah.
in the 4 years ago YouTube mentality where like, don't I just
Mm.
upload a video and if it does well, it does well. And I get my
Yeah.
3 cents.
Yeah.
Because it's like I find YouTube
Three
so
cent.
difficult to,
Yeah.
to survive. Like at the moment, like I've spent 4 years in it, and I'm like, how does it work?
Yeah. Yeah. After all this time, I still don't have a grasp on it, a full grasp.
But you got that plaque, right? Like you got your YouTube plaque. Isn't that like
I have a
wonderful?
I have a YouTube plaque that my wife got for me. It's not an official one, but
I love
it's
the
something.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's more important to me than probably anyone that I'll get from YouTube. That's like the nicest thing
It
that I think.
is.
Yeah, it's so cool. I'm looking at it right now. It's such a beautiful gift, and I'm glad that I mentioned that too because I didn't. I don't know. I assumed that most people did know about the memberships, but most people don't actually have them don't have memberships on the YouTube channel, and I assumed that the reason for that was just because they didn't, want to. They didn't want to do membership. They just wanted to do the regular kind of thing. But I truly I look at that as like a quite a powerful tool. I mean, you can be just so you could do a little research, and we'll keep the dialogue going even afterwards. But there's so many people that are doing like much more creative things with their delivering. Like they'll have different tiers, and you can keep yours very simple. I mean, there's some people. There's one guy I think that had something like he has his YouTube membership, and in his thing where it says what you're getting, because you can like put down what the perk is and stuff. He said something like I forget the way he worded it, but it was very like blunt but also dry humor, and it was basically like you're not getting anything for this. Like you're just giving me your money to support me, and I appreciate that. Something along those lines. And I was like, nice. I was like, okay, I get where you're going there. But it's an opportunity. It's a tool that's there to utilize, and it's the cool thing, hey man, about like having these types of conversations is with other people like yourself who are in such a similar space. I think you and I are in very 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 similar spaces with the live streaming and our shared appreciation. By the way, Teenage Engineering, did you hear about the new module that's coming out, or did you see it on
Oh,
Instagram?
I saw the teaser. Yeah.
The little teaser, right? Looks pretty interesting. I'm not exactly sure how I would work it all out, but I'm interested and intrigued at the fact that it is coming, and it can be like it can turn the device into more of a central hub if you want it to for all of your other gear. So that's very exciting, I think. Have you experimented at all with the with like the visual capabilities and functions with the OPZ, like on the iPad or iPhone?
Yeah, I've actually like the video options. Like it's actually quite cool, inclusive of the light DMX kind of options on the OPZ.
I
I'm
haven't tried that yet.
I'd say like when I first got the OP one, right, and Teenage Engineering is so like they're a genius in what they do, and the hype that is created from just dropping like a hint and a teaser. I
Yeah.
remember like I wasn't a Teenage Engineering mentor yet when the OPZ first dropped. And I remember having the OP1, and at that point, I was thinking like, "This is the best thing in the planet." I have an OP1. I've been waiting for months, and I finally like got the email that it's available.
Yeah.
I told my partner, "Stop the car! I need I need my full focus here," because I was
Yeah.
ordering the OP1 on the website. I was just like,
Yeah.
"Nobody mess with my internet connection right now," because I'd be pissed
Right.
if by the time I hit like add to cart and check out it's like sold out. I'd be like, "Nobody mess with my Wi-Fi," and so what happened was when the OPZ came out, right? I was like, oh my gosh, there's another level of genius. Like, and it is
Uh-huh.
so light.
So like, all right, we got to do that. We got to do that, my friend. You already know what time it is. Got mine. Well, there's a camera there. There we go. So cool. There we go.
I know. Wait, I have the OP1 nearby as well. They're never too far away from me.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
this got me into sequencing. Like, cause when I use the OP1, it's all about the synthesizers live performing. I love using the accessories on the OP1, but then
Mm.
with this, it's like video, lighting, live
Mhm.
performing. You can have
Mhm.
all of your projects at one go. I started to
Yeah.
bring this into Twitch, and I
Yeah.
realized how powerful an OPZ can be on live streaming performances. It's
Yeah.
just like it's the vibe that keeps going. It's
Yeah. Oh
capable
man.
of keeping a party going like for hours. Like if you
Yes.
lay everything out, sky's the limit. It's like
Yes.
your own festival in your pocket.
Yes.
It's
So right.
amazing, right? Have you brought it into
You
live
are
streams yet?
I definitely have, and I have some of the most fun with this OPZ and my piano, and having both of these together because to your point, you have all of those tracks laid out, and what I love doing is I love using the mute groups to create like distinct sections of my tracks where only the drums are left in. So I can be like this is what I love doing. I play by ear, so I love like playing one of my beats on here with like all the sounds in it, and knowing how the melody goes or how the chords go or whatever the song is doing, and then going to the other mute group with only the drums, and then like playing similar like a similar feel for the other parts that I just took out, but actually playing that part live on the piano. That has been some of like for me like you'll see me doing that with like a huge smile on my face. Like I'm just so excited to like figure out how to do that little melody. And sometimes like as you know about like the I love this device so much. As you know about like the master track and like changing the key, like that is such a like what like you can just make the whole song sound so different and like immediately. And they really just knocked it out of the park with this device. I remember like my story with this is I remember watching whatever it was, whether it was NAM or Super Booth or one of those things where it was unveiled, and seeing it. I think that that actually happened right around the time where I was thinking about getting an OP1, and then I saw they unveiled this. I was like, okay, let me not get an OP1 now because in my mind at that time, like this is the new and improved version of that. Why would I get that if they have a better version coming out? As we all know now, it's not better per se. It's just very, very, very different, right? Totally different type of device. But I was just looking at it. I was like, it looks cool. Okay, it has USB-C on it. It looks so small. I love the idea of like portable stuff. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do anything with these keys on here because these keys are like buttons. I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure it out and stuff. But ultimately, when this thing came in and I watched, you know, I remember I was in the gym probably, and when I ordered mine and I watched like Cuckoo's like full hour plus long like tutorial on it, and I was just like so excited. I'm like, I can't wait until this thing comes in because I'm about to have so much fun, like laying in bed, making beats, going to the beach. And I've done all of those things that I imagined, you know, wanting to be able to do with this. And I think one thing that you just said to me that really, or you said earlier in the conversation that really resonated, and I wanted to touch on too, is the fact that you are focused on the gear that you focus on, the gear that you've come to really really love and appreciate. And I think just from watching your videos and like seeing like I know the OPZ, the OP1, you see the OB4 quite often. I know you've been experimenting a little bit lately with the was it the Arteria Micro Freak, is that what that's called? What's your experience been with that so far, if you don't mind?
Oh my gosh, it blew my mind. Because because I was in Bo Beats channel, because Bo Beats doing the best synth and music production gear of 2021, and
Yes.
everybody knows Bo Beats, right? True Cuckoo, Bo Beats, like they're just like paving the way
Yeah.
in like making such beautiful, beautiful music and videos in the community. So I was
Yeah.
invited by Bo Beats to like to do a video, and I was just like, yeah, I would love to do it. And because if
So
you look
cool.
at my YouTube videos, right, there's always a theme. Like even people who followed me for years, right, they're like, you're quite loyal to the things that you've been using for a few years, like 4 years.
Mm.
Like I've got the OP1 in 2018, right? It's never stopped showing its face until
Yeah.
2022. And
Yeah.
that's actually me genuinely knowing that, like, before I buy something or before I accept something, right? It's like, how am I going to use it? Like, do I have the natural curiosity for this? And like, is this resonating with me? Like, design wise, sound wise, the concept, the philosophy behind why it's created. And teenage engineering has always been like, boom, like super high on my list of brands that I think like whatever it is they're doing, I need to know. And it's not just me;
Mm-hmm.
everybody needs to know, right? So
You're
seeing
right.
that
You're
video,
right.
Bo was like, so just feature your favorite. And it was no brainer to me that even though I had the OP1 since 2018 and it was 2021, I was true to the one thing that really opened me up to the synth community and the one thing that connected me to teenage engineering. So I featured the tombola sequencer, which from the first day I
Yes.
spinned it till now, like I love it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
from there, Arturia saw me like in the video, and were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, love your vibes, like would love to, have you try something of us." And I was just like, I've been looking at the micro freak for some time. So I was
Nice.
like, this has to be like a universe thing, right? Like the energy that like you're sending out, and
Yes.
very specific things where you're just like, I make ambient music. I like it a little spicy, the ambient music. So
Yeah.
when I was having a chat with Arturia, I was just like, yeah, the micro freak, please. And when it
Nice.
arrived, like, and I have this thing with the minute the gear arrives, right? Again, my brain goes into like this hyper focus mode. Like, I want to unbox it. I want to learn about it. I want to spend a lot of time with. Even my partner knows, like, if I have a delivery, it's like you can't even talk to her. It's like she's just like, what? Like sorry, excuse me. Like, I
Right.
literally have this. It's something I'm trying to work on as well, like a multitasking brain, but I can't. It's like my brain's just like, oh, look at you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very pretty today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I need to hold you. And my partner's there, like, oh my gosh, it's like she's meeting a human being or something. And
Right.
so I
Right.
made that micro freak video. The minute it arrived, that's all my hands wanted to touch and do for like a
Mm-hmm.
couple hours. And then I made that video. I posted it, and I almost felt like the adrenaline in my body just kind of like disappeared because I understood the micro freak. Like, my way of understanding a piece of gear is a full song comes out of it, a full video, then
Mm.
I know that, like, this is gonna be my baby. Like, like we made
Wow.
like a video together, we made a full song together, then I started live streaming with the micro freak after that.
Wow.
So I wanted to stay true to, like, if I have a connection with something, I wanted to say yes. And when that come out, every time a gear comes, I'm just like, I have my feelings about you, let's confirm it now. I know it sounds so
Yeah.
weird, right? Like the way I speak about gear, it's almost like my
You did call it a baby earlier. I like that. That was actually good. Yeah.
my partner's just like, oh, that's great, babe.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so. That's no. That's so beautiful. The 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 stars aligning type of a thing that you mentioned, like you being again asked to be a part of a mainstay and a major player in our community, Bo Beats, as you mentioned. Like, who knew that, what would transpire after that is what ended up transpiring. And the fact that, like you mentioned before, we're gonna see that piece of equipment, and I think this is very noteworthy, that we're it makes your type of videos different than perhaps the ones where the main purpose of the channel is to share a vast array of different types of equipment with people, which is a different, it's a different type of video, of course, right? It's like you're gonna see this person using this first, and their main purpose is to do a review, is to share information about it so people can make educated decisions. But in your case, like, we're gonna see the micro freak like quite often, presumably, right, moving forward. And that there's something special about that. It's like that joins your family, right? It joins the family. It's not like something where probably it's going to be like a short-lived thing, and certainly that can happen. Say, for example, if you receive something that you think you might like, and you start using it, you're like, okay, this isn't, I don't love it, or it doesn't work into, my workflow or whatever. Certainly that can happen, but I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying that piece of equipment. Is that the one that has like the touch sensitive strips?
Oh
Yes.
my
Okay.
gosh,
Yeah.
and
That's
there's
so
even
cool.
like a spice, like, because I was just like, ooh. And I keep thinking, when
Oh,
I first hit the synth, I was like, this is so spicy. And then I looked at it, oh, there's a chili there. I was just like, like,
wow.
there's actually a chili icon on the microfreak, because the first thing
Wow.
you feel when you touch it, it's like there's a sizzle in that microfreak, right? and
Okay.
and this is my first Arturia. Like, in Australia, like, you can't walk into any music store without seeing an Arturia. You could throw a stone with your eyes closed and
Wow.
hit an Arturia something, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so for me, it was like, wow, I this is my first Arturia baby, and it was so exciting to experience it with Arturia. It's such a wonderful feeling. I remember
Yeah.
the first, like, kind of interactions with brands I had was Teenage Engineering, and then Genki Instruments in Iceland. And because for me, it's like I'm quite like a hermit kind of person. You know, I almost have to quite, and like I told you, hyper focus, right? If that thing comes, like anything, if it's a gear or whatever, I'm just like, you know, I'm not going to sleep or be rested until I figure this out, you know? So it's always about, so that's why I love when there are channels on YouTube's where like, it's a person that I trust going through, like True Cuckoo is probably one of like the best, like bow beats. Like, I remember watching a live stream that said, if you have this kind of connection with somebody on YouTube, it doesn't matter what it is that they are talking about, you almost feel like you understand their communication style. Because there's so many like types of tutorials in the world, but when you connect with like somebody like you, when you're explaining something, or like me, somebody's just like, oh, she's as awkward as me, she's a hermit, you know, so she's a little bit shy, right? And this is how she introduces her things. It's so important to have different people on YouTube for different types of personality types, I realize. So I think that's also how I appreciate the different kinds of way gears are being shared. I think it's quite important to share the gear in your perspective. Even though there's like, let's say, a lot of
100%.
OP1 videos, I still think it's important to have be like, but this is how Khordmaster sees the OP1, because people love you
Right.
and they want to know what you love specifically, because they just want to feel a connection with you and their favorite gear as well, not just, oh, should I buy, right? Like they actually want to be like, oh, Khordmaster plays it like this. And that's something I didn't realize until I communicated with my friends on Instagram, who are just like, why don't you speak at all on your channel? Like they were asking me to talk on my channel, and for 4 years I just didn't. I just didn't say anything. I would just play and like, well, I have questions. Like, how do you feel about it? I was like, 4 years in, I feel great about it. Like, cause it takes time. It takes time for me to actually like, cause the first year they asked me like, how do you feel about the OP1? I was like, I love it. Second year, I still love it. Third year, still loving it.
Yeah.
Fourth year, still loving it.
Right. This is how I feel.
But yeah, I think
That's
that's why I said like I really appreciate you, like putting yourself out there, putting your feelings out there, putting your thoughts out there, because I'm starting to feel like that's really making our garden like really bloom. It's like when we actually get to know the people behind the music that you love already, but there's so much more to that channel. Like I said, I think I messaged you as like beacon of light, right? Like when I was talking about
yeah.
the channel, like
You've used that word. That really moved me. Yeah.
because even if I was having a bad day, right, it's like there are certain people on YouTube that I want to see, you know, because I'm such a hermit that like I don't usually pick up the phone and be like, oh, I'm having a really bad day, can you talk to me? Like I go from like really hyper focus on what I need to do at the studio to just being really quiet, like, you know, just eating my oatmeal or something, you know, like a weirdo.
With almond milk.
Like with almond milk, you know, warm,
Yeah.
with maple.
Yeah.
So I'm just like sitting there and I just ask myself like, how do I unwind and want to spend time with my friends? And then I go to YouTube and I see these people on YouTube as my friends, as you know what I mean? Like I feel
Yeah.
presence. I'm just like, good. I really just wanted to hear True Cuckoo's voice today and Bo Beats,
Yeah.
Mylar Melodies and Khordmaster. Like I like even on Twitch, people were saying like once people get used to your presence, you also get comfortable with people getting used to your presence. At first, you're just like, oh, I'm just showing up, you know? Does it really matter? Can I spend my time somewhere else? Like, am I just wasting everyone's time? But I think the more videos you put out, the more I kind of feel more of your vibes. And then by the time we start talking, it's just comfortable. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like when people come to my channel, I don't have like one video of me speaking. And then when they podcast interview me, they're like, hello. I'm like,
Right.
hi.
So this is what your voice sounds like. Okay, now
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, this is so good. This is that moment that you just talked about getting more comfortable, and you know, with the streaming aspect too. Like thinking about now the fact that it's a fun thing for us to do. It's a fun thing for the most part. There might be times where maybe, like, let me ask you this: do you have a set schedule with your streaming currently, or do you do it when the mood strikes, kind of thing?
I try to show up every week around like 4:30 p.m. Sydney time, and
Hmm.
that's the only time that I'm available to do that at the moment.
Yeah, every day or or a specific day
Actually, for the
or
first
days.
month, I did it almost every day, every alternate day,
Wow.
just to kind of
Yeah.
acclimate. Like, I remember when I started my YouTube video, I was really painfully shy, but I told myself, like, you have to show up for yourself. You need to develop
Yeah.
some discipline and muscle where even if you don't feel like it, you're very scared, you got insecurities. I say it quite often in like interviews and podcasts that like I think we're all fighting our own daily demons to actually show up for ourselves. Like
Mm.
especially when you have a platform on Instagram or YouTube or Twitch, it's like people don't know behind the scenes. Like I can be very hermity, very insecure, very unsure, but if I don't show up, that's just going to define me. So I always on days that I feel like, "Oh, I don't think that stream went well," immediately I need to go back. Like yesterday's
Mm.
stream,
Yeah.
it crashed. Ableton crashed in the middle of a raid. Like after the raid came, it
Wow.
crashed, right? And
Wow. Yeah.
inside my heart I was just like dying inside because like there's so many people who are just like, hi, what's going on here, it almost feels like there it is. The spotlight is on and I'm just
Yeah.
choking right now. But then
Yeah.
I was just like, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna show up, right? If it gets cut off, you're gonna keep going back. You have to. It's not for because how can other people like rely on you, connect with you, relate to you if you cannot be imperfect in public? Like you almost
Mm.
need to be like
Yeah.
everything needs to be great, right? So I was just
Yes.
like, so I was really honest. I said, look, things are going to poop poop right now. It is poop poop, okay? And Brenda can't help me right now, and I am
Right.
scared. And I'm wearing a onesie right now. Is the wrong outfit to be choosing, and I am shitting my pants. There's no way to get out of this onesie fast enough to
Yeah.
go to the bathroom. So,
Yeah.
so I'm staying until this whole thing cuts off. And people were laughing and were like, "It's okay, you got this," and I don't
Wow.
got
Yep.
this. But then
Right.
cut off, right? And you have this choice whether to be like, let's fight another day, man. I'm too tired,
Hmm.
But I was just like, it's gonna leave such a bad feeling in my heart, right? That people were there to cheer me on and like, or there to meet me and see me. And I just
Yeah.
disappeared. So I was just like, go live. And I showed
We're
up
gonna do it.
and
Yep.
let's do it. Let's do it. And because I went through a really bad moment, imperfect moment on the stream, I just felt like, well, now you know I'm a flawed person who is, just a mess. So now we got that cleared. Let's get better
Right.
from here. Let's get better from here. Like I don't
That's
have
it.
to be perfect. And I remember on YouTube, people have a different impression of me because I'm so quiet. I don't speak on my videos, and the videos are quite like, according to them, like very cinematic. It just looks like music films, right? So they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Sure.
you must be very like artistic and very chill and then when they see me on Twitch, I'm just like, ah, oh my gosh, why? And
Yeah.
I'm crying there, Brenda. Like like
Right.
out of the blue, I'm just hanging on to my face double and be
Right.
like, I'm trying my best, and people are just like, okay, that's a
Right. That's not what I expected, but I'm liking it.
do you know what I mean? It's and I feel like I also connect to creators, music videos that have this element of like awkwardness and humor. Some people are just naturally cool. I know your vibe is just you are naturally cool. There's like it just is. It flows so well. Even when you got raided, like I watched you and I've never seen a raid before except yours. I was like,
Oh wow.
how are you doing this? I'd be shitting my pants. You were just like, all right, guess the song today. I was like, that is brilliant.
Oh.
You were so smooth. And
Thank
for
you.
me, I'd be like, hey, hi.
Your whole voice would change. You just start like just moving, bring Brenda. Oh, yeah, I got you. I got you. But
Remember?
now, go ahead.
You remember when I was playing the ambient vibes and you rated and you came in, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked up
Vividly.
and I was just like, tears. It just went
Yeah.
from like, I'm just playing, doing my own thing because nobody's watching. There's only me and my moderator. And then
Right.
suddenly it's just like, and I think there was like, and it was the first time I saw you on my stream as well. I was just like, be cool,
Yeah.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
friends
We're
one day.
watching you now.
I
You
was
have to be. Yeah.
I was like, I want to be friends one day. And suddenly I started crying. I was like, are we still going to be friends?
Is it still possible to recover from the fact that I'm crying on stream?
I
I
know.
don't know.
Can we still be friends?
Right.
And people are messaging me like, it's okay. It's
Right.
okay.
It's all good. That was, man, that was such a moment. I was literally in this chair. I was like, it was really, really, really late. I remember at my time because I kept my stream going much longer than I expected to and really wanted to, just because so many people were there that rated towards the end of it. So I was like, all right, let's just keep going, whatever, even though I was like tired. So it must have been like, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning or something when I rated you. And yeah, it just brought me such immense joy. I told my wife like the first thing next morning, I was like, babe, I was like, I made someone cry on Twitch last night. She was like, well, what do you mean? I had to give her more detail. Well, what do you mean? Like, did you make fun of the person? Why did they cry? It's like, no, I rated them and I just like basically broke them live on stream.
Mm,
It was so cool. I love that. I love that moment so much.
me too. And that was the first ever raid of my life. So
Hmm.
that was the
Yeah.
first time. And also the first time that you were in my stream. And I was just like, so many first. But
Yeah.
I will not be cool right now. I just like,
Right.
I've never been cool my whole life. So I'm just like, let's just be myself on Twitch.
Keep it going. Right. All right. So I'm gonna ask you two more questions. I want to know a little bit about your musical influences to start, and you can take that question however you like it. But I guess just some artists that you listen to that you like, and maybe some artists that like influence your sound.
So in terms of like music that I really feel has always resonated with me is like film music. I love ever since I was a kid, like I'm quite glued to the television kind of kid. That's
Yeah.
how like growing up in Malaysia, I would watch a movie and I'm the kind of person that like would watch the same movie over and over again until my mom would come and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you still watching this?" I'm like, I love the scene, I love the sounds, I love the
Yeah.
setting. Like there's something about cinema that has always
Right.
intrigued me. So I remember finding this channel on the radio growing up. It's just like soundtracks. I think it was on
Wow.
like Apple or something, and it was just called
Hmm.
Movie Score or something. And I would just be so fixated, like I just listen and listen, and I would feel like certain soundtracks just made me really sad and then really happy, and then I cry, and then it get
Hmm.
me so emotional. And
Wow.
so when I started like making music, I think at the back of my mind there's always this kind of like cinematic influence. Like even in my YouTube videos, when people watch my videos, I want them to almost come into a setting that's already a mood. Like when they watch it, they're like, I'm in her space now, and she's inviting
Hmm.
me in, and things are so still, and it's still enough for you to pay attention to the synth sounds, like the rawness and the stillness, like. And if somebody wanted to close their eyes and then imagine that they were in a movie or a cinematic kind of like dream, it's like I encourage that. So I think cinema soundtracking has been really like the core influence of my music, like Alexandre Desplat, like this amazing composer, and
Hmm.
obviously Ramin Djawadi, who does Westworld, Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Yep.
Hans Zimmer is fantastic. John Williams, like it's just, and Harry Potter. Don't get me started. This stream will go on to like, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Don't start with Harry Potter. No, just
Can
kidding.
you believe I haven't seen any Harry Potter movies yet?
Oh my gosh! So that's what we're
Isn't-
gonna do when we finally meet. There will be just
Yes.
one. We'll start with one Harry Potter movie, and then we'll watch the next all of them right after that.
Okay, so it's not going to be just one. It's going to be like all of them just consecutively. Got it.
I'll be like, all
Note to
right,
self.
Khordmaster, Let's
right?
go.
Look,
I
I'm
just
game for it.
incredible.
I'm
Yeah. So
game. I've only heard. I know how much of how beloved the series is. Let's put it that way, and how popular it is. So I can only imagine. I know that I'm missing out on something important to pop culture and just humanity, I guess. So I'm down for it. Definitely, definitely. Whenever I'm in Sydney or when you're in New York, we'll make it happen. That's for sure. Um, and then before we actually wrap, we didn't get a chance at all to talk about the OB4 speaker. What has been your experience with it? You've been using it a lot. Have you been checking out that ambient mode and stuff like that? Is that where you mostly stay at?
oh my gosh, like you can see it's right there, right? So I
Yeah,
put it there because like number one is the synth shelf, right? And basically it's like a TE synth shelf.
I
So
love it. Yeah.
I actually write like just kind of like morning pages, journal. I do a lot of my paperwork just at this corner, and I just turn on the OB4 and just listen to music on the speakers, just relaxing, mixed with like some birds chirping and just like some
Hmm.
rainfall. The speakers are so incredibly amazing that I just want to listen to music through the speakers. I don't care what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I actually just even radio, anything sounds super wonderful on those speakers. I think, don't you get questions on Instagram often like, how does the speaker sound? Like, you really need to hear it for yourself because
Yeah.
there's something about it that's so special about these speakers, you know?
You are so right. And the main question I always get is about the line out. How there's no line out. People need that in order to do exact, that type of
Yeah.
thing. And I'm with you on that. I love the device so much.
Mm,
It's the sound is so amazing. The what it like it's and it's not for everyone. People aren't going to pay $600. A lot of people aren't clearly going to pay that amount of money for something that doesn't have a specific feature set that they feel like they need. But like just using it, and for me, like I've always had a um, I always love like my knowledge of my musical taste, like music songs that I know about that maybe others don't know about that sound really spectacular, but maybe they never heard before, or popular songs from decades ago. And like I have like an eclectic kind of like mix of different genres, like all these different sounds that I love. So whenever there's an opportunity to like make a playlist for a party or something like that, I would always be the guy. Like I love doing it. So people would like ask me to do it and stuff. Even like for our wedding and stuff. Like I did like I was very meticulous with like playlists and stuff. So now with this, I've been using it like in this DJ type fashion, and I absolutely it's some of the most fun that I've ever had musically, and it's so different than anything else. It's not playing piano. It's not. It's like just listening to music, but tweaking it ever so slightly to make it sound a little bit different and remixing it with that slide function. And it's so different than the way I'm sure you use it. As an ambient artist, I'm sure that you spend a lot more time in the ambient mode, which I have dabbled with, but I don't spend that much time in that mode. And it's such a unique piece of gear that I like love using it so much.
it is, and until you actually have it with you and you spend time with it listening to things. I remember listening to like the Jurassic Park soundtrack, the original,
Wow.
and it's like
Wow.
it hits different. I was just like, listen to that. I was telling my partner, right? And my partner is just crazy about fitness, I love the gym. And I saw that my partner had this kind of like outdoor radio,
Hmm.
listening to FM, and I was listening to the speakers, and my partner's just trying to like crank it up, trying to exercise because like my partner needs a lot of like loud rock music to
Oh
actually
yeah.
really like lift weights and stuff. I'm just like, I got what you need. I got what you need.
Yeah.
I brought
Yeah.
my
You
own
wait right there.
I was like, you wait right there. I was like, I know you got your own. I have much respect to what you have chosen, but
Right.
seriously, this is gonna help you with all of that lifting. And I brought it over.
Right.
It was just like it just booms so loud that the volume goes really loud and it projects
Oh man.
really far. Until
Yeah.
today, I have no need to crank it up to its maximum, even just
Same.
right. You
Yeah.
hear it from the other side of the house, like.
Yeah. Oh, it's intense for that size. I mean, I brought it with me to a park, to a few different parks. One time, my mom and I went to this park. We went for like a hike together. It was really really nice, and Yeah, I have some footage I've recorded that I'm gonna eventually do something with. But I was sitting on one bench and I had my OB4, I had my OPZ. I think I was playing music through Bluetooth at the time on the OB4, and I was like playing songs that I knew that she liked. She was like laying down on the bench, and then I was like playing songs, and I had songs that I knew that she was gonna like love listening to. So I cranked that thing so loud, and she just like started dancing, and she just like couldn't help herself right to start because it was like outside, and she was like mesmerized at how can we get this. I mean, maybe it sounds obvious to some or whatever, but like how can this sound so good, like right, it feels like I'm at a concert right now, like outside at the park, like it sounded like that to her. And I had my little pocket camera, I recorded the whole thing, and I was like, I need to capture this moment. This is too special, too like nice of a moment here, you know.
And it's moments like that that I feel like why the OB4 is around. Exactly what you said just now.
Yeah, spot
Because
on.
music's very like headphones, phone, in the middle of travel, in the middle of transit. And I realized that like the OB4 kind of like renewed my relationship with, how I kind of connect with music. Because a lot of times I'm on this desk, right, and I'm making things and line in, line out, like there's so many things plugged. I'm surprised I haven't blown up this space yet. And yet when I'm just with my OB4 outdoors on like just a simple sweet day, having a cup of tea, and I'm just like so glad you're here, OB4, because
Hmm.
I probably stuffed so much stuff into my ears and
Oh
not
man,
actually enjoy the birds chirping, the rain
yeah,
dropping, and you just singing through like intense, beautiful eyes for speakers. Like it's the cutest
yeah.
thing.
Oh man,
Come on,
isn't it? Yeah,
it's the
it's
cutest
so.
thing. Teenage engineering has a way of designing things that have people be so curious, even if they don't know what it is. Like I bring it outdoors,
Hmm.
and somebody would be like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
They
what
need
is
to
that?
know.
Well, it's so
Yeah.
stylish. Like, and the design
Yeah.
is just on point, right? It's just so
It
stylish.
it is so cool, and that red one is really that's nice. It matches the lipstick.
I know.
Nice, nice. There it is.
I'm crazy about color at the studio, because like it just brings a lot of joy to me. Like when I
Yeah.
see teenage engineering's like colors, like look at the POM 400, look at the
Yeah.
it's like they choose the most like richest, memorable, like outstanding colors. Even if you
Hmm.
look at the OPZ, right? Like the green,
Oh yeah.
and like the
Oh yeah.
yellow, the red, it's got its own tint. It's just got its
Yeah.
so much thought has been put into every detail. You and I need to have a podcast where just
Oh yeah. Hey, look, you let me know. We can definitely make that happen. You
where
just
we
say
can
you just
talk
say the word, my friend.
6 hours of just be like, let's talk about the green here today.
Yeah. Today we're gonna talk about the green on the OPZ. Like that's what the whole 6 hours is about.
The
Just
six
that hue
hours
of
we,
green.
we need to
Yes.
appreciate this, and then we're
Yes.
gonna move into the first pot over here.
There we go.
Then
There we go. I'm so down for that. I think that would actually. I mean, first of all, this can't be the last time that we do something like this. That's first off. And man, I just got to say, like, I had just an absolute blast connecting with you. I think we both expected it to be something, but I think it, for me at least, exceeded even those lofty expectations. I just really enjoyed it, and I could talk to you for more and more hours. But I'm gonna give you back the rest of your day, and allow us to be able to, do another one of these at some point, right? At some point for sure. And I just want to say thank you for being you and for being dope and chill and genuine. And I'm just glad our paths crossed. I really am.
I'm very grateful to have met you, honestly, and I've been like wanting to chat with you. I think we've been saying it on Instagram as well. It's like, oh, we really love to chat with you. And Twitch really just sealed it in because we were both spending so much time on
Right,
Twitch. And we are like,
right.
let's do it. I remember on my
Let's
last,
make it happen.
yeah, let's do it. And you were saying, like, oh, you just come on my show. I'll be like, just say when.
Right.
Even when you asked me, I was just like, tomorrow, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
I
You're
have
like,
no
I'm making
chill.
myself available.
I have no chill with you. You're like, tomorrow, yeah, got it. And you're like, oh, day after tomorrow, yeah, got it. sure,
That's
I'll lock
it.
that in.
Yeah.
And after erase
Yeah.
it, I'm like, no, 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 Friday, Friday, be cool, be cool, be cool.
Is that exactly how it went too? That's exactly how it went,
When you're
right?
like,
Just
all
like
right,
that.
Thursday, I'm like, Thursday, 1 p.m. It's like, okay, I might be Friday, but Friday, 1
Friday, 1 p.m. Sounds good. Saturday? Saturday,
Saturday,
1
1 p.m.
p.m.
I was like, whatever,
There.
like date. I was just like, totally, in a
Yeah.
very chill manner. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I
Thank
love
you
I
so
love the
much.
enthusiasm, and I like I said, it just had a blast, and really I feel like some major takeaways for me, major takeaways, something that I've been kind of realizing and kind of implementing a little bit, but now hearing you talk about it too, like spending time with an instrument, and don't or musical device, and not necessarily feel as though like the clock is ticking. Like, just enjoy the time, learn it. And like right now, I'm saying that to myself specifically. I would say, for like, if you were to ask like what's one piece of gear in your studio, or gear or app, because I do a lot of stuff on the iPad too, but gear or app that I feel like I need to learn more wholeheartedly, it is the OP1. The Z, I'm gonna be spending time with this, just point blank period. But the OP1, I've barely scratched the surface with it. And the reason I guess I haven't spent as much time lately is because for me there's like a little bit of a learning curve, right, in order to do the things that I want to be able to do with it. But what I was kind of doing the other day is just like during a live stream, just connecting it up and just kind of playing with it, having fun with it, not putting any pressure on, oh, I need to be able to do this, rather like exploring it, that exploratory aspect of it. Like, let me see what this effect is, let me see what this cow effect does, let me see what this tombola does, and let me see, like, I wouldn't think that I would need to use that, as I don't do too much ambient music, but let me just explore it. Maybe I might love it. Maybe I might really enjoy it. And I sure as heck did. Like, it's like I was like, this is pretty amazing. Now I see why Heyman uses it all the time. You know?
Yeah, and it was so strange because like I remember first finding the tombola, and then every video was me creating like tombola, endless, arpeggio. Like I was just going through making videos with every single sequence. And then I keep finding myself like going back to the tombola, to the
Uh
point
huh.
that some of my friends were just like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna like, do you want to be the tombola queen?" It's like it's just tombola, tombola, tombola. I'm just like, I can't stop spinning it. I'm so
Yeah.
obsessed with it, and I've been spinning it since 2018 to 2022. Like, spin it in waves. It's like
Yeah.
sounds of waves, right? I call it like tombola waves, and then spin it like little falling stars. Even in
Uh.
Obi's video, I'm just like orchestral swarm. I'm just like, wow, seriously. Like, I tell myself like,
Hmm.
you are you okay? It's just like, could you just? It's like, how much more
Yeah.
do you want to spin? I'm like, I don't know, but every few, like every month, if I haven't spinned it, I'm just like, oh god, this itch that I need to.
Yeah. I gotta get it in right now. Let's
Maybe
go.
there's other ways to spin it or something. Even though I spin it for
Right.
4 years.
4 years. Like, you've scratched a lot. Covered a lot of ground in that time. But
I
you
know.
never know. I mean, I'm sure there could be a couple more ways, right?
Yeah, and I told my mom like the first tutorial, like as a TE mentor, people are just like, "What is your first? What are you gonna do as a TE mentor?" I'm like, "I'm gonna teach my mom how to spin the tombola."
I love that. That was so wholesome.
I
I
know how to
remember
spin
that
it.
video. So nice. Yeah, yeah. That people love things like that, right? Like seeing that, and like, it's, yeah. Wholesome is the word that comes to mind when I watched that. I was like, this is nice. This is really nice.
Thank you for
But
spending time with me today. Thank you so much.
oh, it was an absolute pleasure, and like I said, I just truly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to whenever it happens first, whoever live streams next, like for like when we're both in each other's live stream or something next after this conversation, it's like a different level of connection, naturally, and I'm looking forward to, yeah, seeing all the great stuff that you have, that you'll continue to do with your live streaming, and that's such a nice place for you, and I'm just excited to see how that continues to grow for you, and you're clearly enjoying yourself there, and yeah, I wish the best.
I wish you the best too. Thank you for spending time today. I feel like we can talk like for another 6 hours.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're and like I said, we will do more of these. So much so, to the point, I'm gonna throw this out there. Like, there's a good chance, with the amount that we have in common, and the connection that we have and the fact that we're both like very much into similar type of gear, there's a very good chance that for the community, like more of these could be something really special for us and for our community. So let's let's think about that and let's talk about that and see what we can, what we can do with that. Because I'm just like the wheels are churning now. Like I love the idea of collaborative things like this that make sense, and I think it can really make sense because we both want to continue talking
I
right
know
now.
it's so crazy because like I love the podcast format the most. Like it's like when I'm like gardening or I'm cleaning. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to just change
No,
the battery or did you want to just cut it off? Sorry.
oh,
What should I do?
that's a good question. No, that's okay. You have a second battery that you can use.
Yeah, I do. I was just
Why
gonna
don't you change it? Yeah, because I feel like you were about to say something very profound
I
just
was
now. So
gonna
no worry. Yeah, no worries.
this happens on my stream as well. You can tell,
Oh
right?
yeah, I've seen it. It's so funny.
Oh gosh, like everything of all of my awkwardness combined happened in just one chat with you. And literally, why does my life turn into this? Like, why can't I be cool? And I was really practicing yesterday that like I'm gonna be
Right.
cool. And then look what happened now. The doorbell rang, and then this is happening. Oh,
So much went down just now. It's so funny. So here we go. Are we? Are you? Oh, you. We're back good now. Let's see. On my end. Well, what does your end look like? Your end looks
yeah, I can see
fine, right?
myself and I can see
Okay,
myself.
good.
Is it good?
Okay, good. Yeah. No. So on my screen, it's because of Riverside. So I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, it was like a little bit blurry, but that's not the video is not going to be that way. It's just like
Oh,
because
okay.
Riverside
Thank
does that over the cloud or whatever. Please continue about gardening and podcasts.
Yeah, I was gonna say like whenever I like have chats, right? Like I've been like on a podcast or two, and I always go like, musicians are probably the most like, relatable when you're speaking to another musician who actually has a platform like yours. Like you're using your platform to speak to other musicians, right? And when I speak
Yeah.
to you, I realize like maybe it's just I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like we balance each other out in a sense where like, we have just enough in common, and then we also have like you bring this really great. I love that you spoke about the business aspect, the technologies and stuff, and then for me, it's like I speak about like the hyper focus aspect, right? So
Yeah.
like together combined, I realized like, it got me thinking like, oh, if I had more of these conversations, it's like I'd probably be more savvy
Mm.
in like how like because you brought up YouTube memberships, right?
Yeah.
And so like you're telling me stuff that I realize like is so helpful, and then I'm just telling you stuff that I don't know if it's helpful or not, but it's more of like the emotional side. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
felt I've lacked the business side, and I've even said it in previous podcasts because it's brought up so many times that like we're not very good at business, we do not know the etiquettes and protocols of brand partnerships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
there was a podcast, right, that explores asking creators who are at a very high level who have already done this for years and they're making like a wonderful living, like there is so much to help the community if people are
Mm-hmm.
willing to share those things. And also on like, you know what I mean, that's just what crossed my mind when we're having a
100%.
chat, like we have enough of the balance but also enough of the difference to then ask each other like, okay, tell me more about that because I have no
Yes.
idea about that, rather than we both like, oh yes, we both know exactly, and then
Yeah.
we don't talk about it. Do you know what I mean?
That's yeah, that's spot on. There's a conversation where we're both learning where there are going to be people that are learning about the things that I'm sharing with you that you're learning, and there's going to be people that are vice versa that are learning about the things you're sharing with me that I'm learning, and all those people will get value out of such a conversation because there is yeah we're going to have to explore that for
Yeah.
sure because it can be fun to do, it can be beneficial, and it's something that can grow our brands in a way that's just that allows people to see just our normal like just we're both just ourselves just talking to each other, just talking to like two friends talking. It's like people like in like fly on the wall type of a thing is what it can be. I'm excited to explore that for sure.
Thank you for
I think it can
spending
be
this
fun.
time because it's really insightful for me. And I also think like this is also one of those chats that I've had where like you do want to leave like people with more knowledge, more ability to help themselves. I can see that come through with your questions and the things that you share. So I think if you continue to do that, that's really important work. Because even just
Yeah.
knowing about the YouTube memberships, I'm like, woo.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see. I will gladly, and like I would be thrilled to support and to see that as soon as I see that on there. So if you have questions with that, please hit me up because I would love to. Yeah, I think that would be fantastic for you. It's just a way that we can, earn something for the stuff that we've been doing, and a great way to do so. I think that YouTube has set up for us.
And I hope that you'll keep doing your amazing show. It's just so wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this season has turned into um, a lot of, and it's been just kind of happened organically. Like most of the people that I had on recently, and that I have on even tomorrow, two more guests that I'm interviewing, have been like Twitch streamers. So it kind of happened where people that I joined their streams are like, I would love to talk to them and interact with them and stuff. Some of which, I know on varying different levels. And I've learned a tremendous amount in the conversations. I think they've all like enjoyed themselves. And so now what I'm thinking about is like whenever this season ends, like I'm thinking about what does the next set of guests look like? And I actually polled my the YouTube community, so I'm still kind of thinking that through a little bit. But it's fantastic to have. I love having the platform, and I love connecting with people like you. So I appreciate the time, and look forward to doing a live premiere for this on my YouTube channel, so we can chat in there some more and promote it for folks to be able to join in and ask questions and just hang out, have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me more about that, like the YouTube premiere. I've seen like a couple of YouTube premieres lined up. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you work so hard. How do you even find
Oh.
time to rest?
Though they're fantastic. Just because, especially for people with an online community, it allows us to further the conversation. It allows people to talk to us, in the chat as we're all watching this video together. So right now, of course, yeah, this is not being aired currently. It's going to be aired at some point. I'm going to reach out to you, and we're going to find a time slot that's convenient, and then we'll share it on our Instagrams and so on and so forth. Talk about it in Twitch stream, and people will, in our Discord and stuff. People will come there, and we'll all watch the finished product together with some popcorn, maybe some red wine or something like that.
That is lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you everyone for joining
yeah,
us.
yeah,
Thank you everyone for joining us.
yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be dope. We're gonna have a blast watching it together. And yeah, I'm gonna give you back the rest of your day. I'm gonna go and maybe play the piano for a few minutes. I won't do a live stream tonight. I'm just gonna probably practice some classical music tonight. Might as well for like 30 minutes. Yeah,
Messages. I'll message you.
yeah. Sounds good. That sounds good. Take care of yourself.